A seven-figure offer is reportedly circulating in television circles, aimed directly at Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. The proposal? Appear in a documentary examining the controversies surrounding Prince Andrew, whose scandals continue to cast a long shadow over the British monarchy. The amount being discussed, around £1 million as an initial figure, is significant on its own. Yet industry insiders suggest that number could rise substantially if negotiations progress. At first glance, the situation appears simple. Producers want exclusive insight from people who actually lived inside the royal system. Harry grew up alongside Andrew. Meghan witnessed palace operations during a turbulent period. From a television standpoint, their perspectives would be uniquely valuable. But behind that apparent simplicity lies a far more complicated reality. According to individuals familiar with how such productions are assembled, early offers often serve as feelers rather than final proposals. Production companies gauge interest, assess potential risk, and determine whether the subjects might be open to further discussion. If there is even mild receptiveness, financial terms can escalate quickly, especially when global distribution is anticipated. The timing is not accidental. Public fascination with royal controversies tends to move in cycles, and Andrew's story remains a reliable generator of headlines. Multiple projects exploring related themes are reportedly in development across various networks and streaming platforms. In such an environment, competition for credible voices intensifies. Television executives face a persistent problem: authenticity. Many documentaries rely on commentators, journalists, or distant acquaintances. While informative, those voices lack the emotional authority of someone who experienced events firsthand. A senior royal family member speaking on record provides something far rarer: a narrative grounded in personal memory rather than secondhand interpretation. For Harry, that memory spans childhood gatherings, official events, and private family moments invisible to the public. For Meghan, the perspective is different but equally compelling: an outsider who briefly became an insider during a period of institutional strain. Together, they represent a blend of viewpoints that producers would consider exceptionally marketable. Yet, the decision confronting them is not purely financial. Participating in such a project would inevitably carry symbolic consequences. Royal families operate on unwritten expectations of discretion. Even relatives no longer performing official duties are often assumed to maintain a degree of silence about internal matters. Breaking that expectation could deepen existing tensions and potentially close doors that remain only partially open. Supporters of the couple might argue that they owe no such loyalty after stepping away from royal roles in 2020. Critics would counter that family ties extend beyond formal duties. The debate ultimately hinges on whether independence eliminates obligation, a question with no universally accepted answer. Another factor complicating the picture: the unpredictability of documentary storytelling itself. Participants may speak for hours, offering nuanced explanations and carefully balanced views. Editors then condense that material into a narrative designed to engage audiences. Context can shift. Emphasis can change. A remark intended as neutral observation might be framed as criticism once paired with music, archival footage, and commentary from other interviewees. This loss of control presents a genuine risk, particularly for public figures already navigating polarized opinion. Even well-intentioned participation could produce unintended fallout. Meanwhile, the broader entertainment landscape continues to evolve. Royal-themed programming has proven consistently popular across international markets. The success of dramatized series such as The Crown demonstrated that audiences far beyond the United Kingdom remain fascinated by palace life. Documentaries promise something even more enticing: reality rather than dramatization. From a business perspective, the potential return on investment can be enormous. Rights can be sold territory by territory: North America, Europe, Australia, Asia, with each deal adding revenue. A payment that seems extravagant in isolation may represent only a fraction of projected global earnings. For the monarchy, however, the stakes are reputational rather than financial. Renewed attention on past controversies risks reopening wounds the institution has spent years attempting to contain. Even without new revelations, simply revisiting familiar allegations can reignite public debate. This explains why palace advisors reportedly monitor such developments closely. They cannot control independent family members, but they remain aware that media exposure involving insiders carries heightened credibility. From the Sussex perspective, financial considerations are only one piece of the puzzle. Since relocating to California, they have pursued a range of ventures: media production, philanthropy, speaking engagements, and brand partnerships. Some projects have generated substantial attention, others have produced mixed results. Like many high-profile endeavors, success fluctuates. Large ongoing expenses further complicate matters. Security costs, staff salaries, property maintenance, travel, and philanthropic commitments create a financial baseline far higher than that of most households. While the couple is far from impoverished, sustaining a particular lifestyle requires continuous revenue streams. Television executives understand this dynamic. Offers are structured not merely to reflect the value of information, but also the perceived willingness of participants to engage. If producers believe a subject faces increasing pressure, financial or otherwise, they may assume that persistence will eventually yield agreement. Still, it would be inaccurate to portray the situation as desperation versus loyalty. Public figures often weigh multiple objectives simultaneously: financial security, reputational management, personal relationships, and long-term legacy. Any decision about participation would likely emerge from that complex balancing act rather than a single overriding motive. Another element influencing the calculus is future opportunity. Accepting one controversial project could shape how other organizations perceive potential collaborators. Some partners might view the couple as candid truth-tellers. Others might see them as unpredictable or divisive. The reputational ripple effects could extend far beyond a single documentary. Ultimately, the million-pound figure represents less a final offer than a symbol of the crossroads at which the Sussexes find themselves. Independence from the monarchy created freedom, but also uncertainty. Without institutional backing, they must navigate the commercial world on their own terms, a world that rewards compelling stories, even when those stories involve personal history. For now, the proposal remains just that, a proposal, but its presence underscores the enduring market for royal insight and the difficult choices faced by those who possess it.
Beyond the immediate question of a single documentary lies a larger story about life after monarchy. When Prince Harry and Meghan Markle stepped away from official duties, they entered a landscape governed not by tradition, but by market forces. In the royal system, roles are defined and funded. Outside it, visibility must translate into sustainable income. Their post-royal strategy has involved multiple streams: content production deals, public speaking, charitable initiatives, and brand development. This diversified approach mirrors that of many global celebrities attempting to convert recognition into long-term influence. However, public attention does not always convert neatly into financial stability. Projects can attract enormous interest at launch, yet struggle to maintain momentum. Audience tastes shift rapidly, and platforms continually seek fresh material. Even well-known figures must compete in an increasingly crowded marketplace. Within this context, offers tied to personal history become particularly attractive to producers. Unlike lifestyle ventures or scripted entertainment, insider narratives carry built-in intrigue. They promise access to stories audiences believe have been hidden or controlled. The enduring fascination with royal life reinforces this dynamic. For centuries, monarchies have balanced public ceremony with private secrecy. Modern media erodes that boundary, transforming once confidential experiences into consumable content. Viewers around the world follow these developments not because they directly affect their lives, but because they combine history, drama, and human emotion.
For the British monarchy, this transformation presents both opportunity and vulnerability. Positive portrayals can reinforce tradition and prestige. Negative or controversial narratives can undermine carefully cultivated images of stability and unity. From the Sussex viewpoint, independence offers the freedom to choose which stories to tell, but also responsibility for the consequences of those choices. Without palace coordination, there is no central strategy guiding public messaging. Each project becomes a standalone decision with potential long-term implications. Family relationships add another layer of complexity. Royal disputes differ from ordinary disagreements because they unfold under global scrutiny. Actions interpreted as personal by one audience may be viewed as institutional challenges by another. A documentary about a controversial relative could therefore resonate far beyond the individuals involved. Public opinion itself is far from uniform. In the United Kingdom, attitudes towards the Sussexes often reflect concerns about tradition and national identity. In the United States, perspectives may emphasize personal autonomy and freedom from hierarchy. International audiences bring yet more interpretations shaped by their own cultural contexts. This diversity means any major media appearance will generate both support and criticism simultaneously. The couple has already experienced this pattern: praise from some quarters, backlash from others, and intense debate across social platforms. Another important consideration is longevity. Media projects produce immediate impact, but may also shape reputations for years. Participants must consider not only how a documentary will be received today, but how it will be viewed retrospectively. Future opportunities, partnerships, philanthropic work, public roles could be influenced by perceptions formed in the present. Meanwhile, the monarchy continues its own trajectory. Under King Charles III, the institution emphasizes continuity and service, projecting stability despite internal challenges. This approach contrasts sharply with the Sussex model, which prioritizes flexibility and entrepreneurial initiative. The divergence illustrates two fundamentally different philosophies of public life. One relies on tradition and duty, the other on personal agency and narrative control. Reconciliation between these approaches would require not only emotional repair, but also structural alignment, a complex undertaking unlikely to hinge on a single event. Time also alters priorities. As years pass, the urgency surrounding specific controversies may fade, replaced by new concerns. Children grow older, health issues emerge, and leadership transitions occur. What seems decisive in one moment may appear less consequential in another. In that sense, the documentary symbolizes a broader tension between past and future. It draws on historical relationships while influencing the path ahead. Accepting it could redefine how the couple engages with their royal heritage. Declining it could reinforce their commitment to building a separate identity. Importantly, absence of participation does not eliminate interest. Producers may simply pursue alternative voices, former staff members, associates, or commentators. The story would continue, albeit without the same level of insider credibility. Ultimately, the situation highlights how modern media reshapes traditional institutions. Royal families once controlled narratives through formal channels and limited press access. Today, independent productions can reach global audiences instantly, reducing the effectiveness of centralized message management. For Harry and Meghan, navigating this environment requires constant evaluation of trade-offs: privacy versus visibility, loyalty versus independence, short-term gain versus long-term reputation. The million-pound figure on the table, therefore, is less a final destination than a marker along an ongoing journey. It represents the intersection of celebrity economics, family dynamics, and public fascination with power and privilege. Whether they accept, decline, or simply allow negotiations to fade away, the episode underscores a defining reality of their post-royal life.
The world remains intensely interested in what they might say, and willing to pay handsomely to hear it.